Hello, good morning. Gosh, it seems such a long time since I was sat here talking to you all. I had a fabulous time in London. It was so nice to sort of just be away from a daily routine, and you know, when you go to London you opt out of reality and your real world. So my friend Sarah, it was her birthday. We had lots of shopping time, lots of talking time, and we had some fabulous meals as well. I thought when I came home and I was going to get on the weighing scales, I was going to scream, but actually I was really pleased. I had lost £1. I don't know how, because we had some really lovely meals. The first night we ate at Mr. Chow's, which was sort of Chinese food. Oh gosh, it was so scrumptious. And the next night we went to an Italian restaurant, and it was so nice. We went back the next day again. Great fun. But it's lovely to come home. I missed my husband and I missed my dogs and I missed my needle as well. I didn't take any stitching with me because Sarah doesn't stitch, although she wants to learn. So I actually went a week without stitching. So I couldn't stitch the first day I got home. I had so many things to do. I had lots of orders to pack, because I wanted to get them out as quick as I could. So Friday night and Saturday night I had time to sit down and work on Esther Pickford. And gosh, I love this sampler so much. She's really coming together. Last night my border made up, and it was just here where the two joined, and I was absolutely thread perfect, which is always such a big relief. I didn't stitch this border in one go, which is my normal habit, because the border itself is quite intense. As you can, I'm sure you can recall, people who follow me, I started here, but as I started to work down, I was literally just doing the vine and then going back and adding the leaves, the density of the curve and the stem of the flower. I finished filling these in last night, so tonight I think I'm going to add the flowers around. Then all I've got to do is stitch the birds and these two motifs this side, and then it's that wonderful double sawtooth satin stitch border all the way around, and I'm really looking forward to doing that. I find working satin stitch so relaxing. Oh, and I did pull through the orange on this flower. I felt I had to. Esther chose orange as one of the colours for her flower, and I felt that I had to do that as well. So the orange was pulled through from the back of the sampler. Very, very pretty sampler. There are so many wonderful samplers out there waiting to be discovered, waiting to be reproduced and waiting to be stitched. You could never get fed up of samplers. One always comes along that really surprises you, or you learn something new from. Okay, so what else? Well, normally I would have a new sampler here because we've released Mary Ann Ragg. Here she is. Here's Mary Ann. There. But she's not here because she's at the Attic Needleworks for summer school. Mary Ann Ragg was stitched by Robert Harris, and we really wanted Mary Ann to be there because Robert is at summer school. We just thought it was really, really nice that when she released, that she was actually with her model stitcher. So what I did 2 weeks ago, I pre-recorded a video about Mary Ann. Hello, This is a pre-recorded video, and the reason I'm pre-recording it before I release it is because the sampler I want to talk about when you are watching this video will already be in the United States. The sampler I want to show you and chat about today is the beautiful Mary Ann Ragg, and here she is. Isn't that a beautiful sampler? I love the colours on this sampler. That blue is amazing. A very, very pretty sampler, and as you can see, it was stitched by Robert Harris. Robert has stitched his name on the sampler, and I think that's so important to do. Take ownership of your sampler. Okay, I'm packing up Mary Ann, and I am sending her, she's being picked up tomorrow to go to the Attic Needleworks because we want her on display for summer school. Robert is attending summer school, and we thought it would be lovely for him to have Mary Ann so that when they have their show and tell, he can talk about Mary Ann, and you know, it's nice for our model stitchers to be able to do that because these samplers are very much part of them as well. Now, what can I tell you about Mary Ann? Well, she is available as a PDF and as a printed booklet. She released on August the 20th. The printed booklet comes with a label for the back of your completed sampler and with an additional thread legend, so you can use this as you stitch your sampler. Mary Ann used 17 colours for her sampler, and the model was stitched using Overa Soie's Soie 103, and it was stitched on 46 count linen from Weeks Dye Works, and it was Zweigart based, dyed to the colour of cocoa. The stitch count is 232 stitches by 313. It's a super size, really, really is. So if you stitch the sampler on 28 count linen, it would be 16.57 by 22.36. On 40 count, it would be 11.6 inches by 15.65. The sampler is stitched with cross stitch, and there is a little bit of over one in the verse. And the verse is, "See the kind shepherd Jesus stands, with all engaging charms. Mark how he calls the tender lambs and folds them in his arms. Beautiful verse on that. Now, Mary Ann Ragg finished her sample at age 12 in 1826. However, this is not the only clue to her identity that she left behind. The pastoral scene, red building, mature cedar trees, birds and cartouche are all characteristic to samplers stitched in the city of Sheffield. Several years ago, Hands Across the Sea samplers reproduced another sampler that was stitched in Sheffield, Elizabeth Furnace. Whilst researching this sampler, we discovered 5 girls who stitched very similar samplers. They all lived within 1 square mile of each other. And in the ensuing years, we have found several more. Many of these girls were baptised in the Cathedral of St. Peter and St. Paul. We believe that the girls shared the same needlework teacher and all probably attended Darnell's School, assuming that the teacher taught in the same school between 1816 and 1844. We have found a Mary Ann Ragg with a W, W-R-A-G-G, being baptised on April the 25th, 1813, in the Cathedral of St. Peter and St. Paul. Prior to the early 1900s, it was fairly common for surnames to be recorded with a wide range of spellings. Individuals may have used different versions on a day-to-day basis. The 1841 census records show that there was an extended Ragg family living in the same street. The males were either cutters or grinders. We have found a Mary Ann Ragg marrying in 1840, but can find no further trace of her. We wonder what life held for Mary Ann. However, we do know that several generations who came after her cherished and cared for her needlework. Enjoy her. She's very, very beautiful. Her booklet is available on our website and from needlework stores throughout the world. She's also available as a PDF on our website, so no matter which format you like working from, they're available for you. Enjoy. What else? Well, I came home to a massive box of supplies. The amount of silk that we go through is phenomenal. When you're stitching with a spool of 103, it goes on forever and ever and ever. There's 15 metres on a spool. But the amount of stitching we do, we go through a lot of it. So yesterday afternoon I opened the box and I thought, wow, beautiful, beautiful colours. I haven't had a chance to go through the silks yet. There are some new colours and I will feature those new colours next weekend when I've had a chance to sort it out. When I get a delivery of silk, I've got to sort it very carefully because some of those spools have to go to model stitchers. They're already assigned to particular projects. Then some of them are for my personal stash. And some of them are for my spools that I design from. But in the box there were some other goodies. Now I have literally just taken these out of the box. These are sweet and sharp macaroons. I ate some macaroons when I was in London, actually. They're delicious. But these aren't macaroons to eat. These are by Clover, and they are to sharpen your needles. Now, this is the first time I've ever had one in my hand, so just bear with me. So you just take them off this little cardboard packaging. This one is raspberry, and this one is pistachio. Funny enough, it was a pistachio macaroon that I ate when I was in London. So it says, place the needle, I put a needle here, on the magnetic surface. So you can place your needles on there so they act as a little safety place for your needles whilst in use. And to sharpen the needle, insert the needle into the macaroon and move the needle back and forth to apply the sharpening feature. There's the little diagram. So I presume that we put it in there and we do that. And this is in various different places around the little macaroon so that we have nice sharp needles. I use a lot of pins. I'm always buying pins for when I lace models, and my pins get blunt very quickly, so I might be putting my pins on here to sharpen. I love having little gadgets. They're such fun. It's silly really, but I just love little pretties. Let's have a look at the colour of the pistachio one. There we are. So, raspberry and pistachio needle sharpeners. That's great, great fun. And they're made by Clover. These came from Access Commodities, and I'm sure that you will find these in needlework stores throughout the world. They are great for keeping your needles sharp, and I suppose as well keeping them rust free and clean any sort of rust off those needles as well. Now, what else has come? Let's have a little look and see what we have. Oh, beautiful linens. Let's get close so that you can see them as well. So we have the beautiful corn tassel. Corn tassel is such a lovely colour. There is a warmth to it, there's some ageing, and this colour lends itself to many reproduction samplers. Corn tassel is 37 count. The linen from Legacy Linen, each count has a different name. So, let's have a look. So that one is corn tassel in 37 count. Then we have Russian tea cake, which again is 37 count, but it's just a little bit sort of a cleaner colour, sort of a newer looking linen to the corn tassel. The corn tassel just has that little bit of aging, both beautiful colours. Oh, Fuller's Teasel. This is 38 count. And what you will see with this one is that it's just that little bit more aged than the corn tassel. So we have Fuller's Teasel, corn tassel and Russian tea cake. It's nice seeing them all together because then you can see the nuances in shade. Then we have Cloudburst. Isn't that pretty? Now, this is a light colour, but if you look up against the Russian tea cake, you see that we're going away from the rich creams into a softer colour. Really, really pretty. Oh, isn't this fun? Love looking at linens. Now, this one is Corkscrew Willow, and this has a more sort of earthy feel to it, a more natural, more raw feel to it. If you were stitching anything sort of that you wanted a primitive look, a more sort of like a home-spun, home-dyed look for a reproduction sampler, that's really good. So that's Corkscrew Willow. wild honey. Wild honey will always be a favourite. This linen, it doesn't matter what colours you put on it, it seems to just sort of take on those colours. It's just a great colour. If I had to have one colour only to stitch on, I think wild honey would be that colour. It's just so versatile. Now, wild honey has comparative colours in different counts. Now, if I was organised, I would have had these all out ready for you, but I'm not, because that's just how I am. Now, I'm all ready to put the bag down and can't find where I put it. What was this? This is right. This is filbert. So you can just see the slight difference in tones there. The filbert is slightly darker. Swiss cocoa is 30 count. So again, you can see that we're working in this colour palette, and they are slightly different counts and slightly different nuances of colour. Now this is waffle cone, 53, 63 count. So again, you can see we're in the same shades, but different counts. And of course, a different feel to the linen. What I'll do, I'll get organised and I will take some photographs and insert them into this video. And then the last one is Nightingale in 45 count. So there's the next colour. See, we've got some beautiful runs of colour here. In my box was this little sample of fabric, and this is 25 count. And if you are a needleworker that likes to stitch as close to the original samplers as possible, this 25 count linen is very similar to what a lot of these young girls stitched their samplers on, especially their first samplers, their primers, if they used wool. That weave is very similar to what we see on a lot of samplers. Now, I'm not on about samplers stitched in silk. That was a different type of linen base, but the samplers that were stitched in wool, or first samplers in cotton, that's something that's very similar, and that is called, doesn't have a name on it. It's been described as 25 count linen, similar to 19th century linens. I'm going to have to find out the name of this linen for you, because I know there's a lot of needleworkers that really like to stitch as close to the originals as possible. I shall find out and I will report back next week. Also in the post this week, or on Friday actually, was an envelope, and inside was a letter, and it says, "My husband and I have been married 44 years. Congratulations, that's a long time. And I've been stitching for almost as many years. I have talked about your samplers on many occasions and watched your videos with him within hearing distance. He collects vintage postcards and recently came upon this one and thought of your samplers. He gave it to me and suggested that I send it to you. And it's dated October the 24th, 1911. Thank you so much to the lady and her husband. The thoughtfulness behind acts of kindness. Oh, it goes such a long way. And here is the little postcard that says, "Hands across the sea." And it says on here, "Out of sight, out of mind, is true of most we leave behind. It is not true, nor can be true, my own, my dearest friend, of you. And then that's the little message on the original postcard. Isn't that lovely? So, so sweet. Thank you so much. You know who you are, and I really appreciate it. And this is going to get framed, and it's going to sit in my sewing studio as a reminder of friendship and really what needlework is about. Needlework brings us all together from all around the world, hands across the sea. It really, really is. So thank you. Very, very touched. And it really made not just my day, my week, my month, my year. So, okay. It was really lovely to see Caroline Page finished yesterday by Linda. She finished Caroline at the Attic Summer School, and she sent me a photograph. I love seeing finishes, and Caroline Page is such a sweet sampler. Now, we framed Boomer's model of Caroline Page, but Linda hem-stitched hers, and it's quite a funny thing actually, because when I was up in London, I saw another needleworker, a friend, and she was telling me how she was planning on stitching some of our red samplers and not framing them but hem stitching them and using them as sort of decorative mats on like her dresser work surface and sideboard surface as well. And you know, we don't have to frame our samplers, we can showcase them in so many different ways. I love red samplers. You know I love red. So I thought today, as we didn't have Ragg here with us, that we could have a display of red samplers. And they do look really impressive when they're all together, clustered together. I do have a little coloured one here, Harriet Goddard. This sampler is so, so sweet. She really, really is. Now, Harriet was stitched by a friend, Linda. Linda's a very prolific stitcher, and this has to go back to Linda soon. We can't send our samplers out on display around the world at the moment because of COVID, because of getting them back, and I don't know, it's not easy shipping things at the moment. I sent a parcel over to the US on Monday. It came back to me on Friday. I've got to find out on this Monday why. Harriet Goddard, she is such a sweetie pie, and it's so nice to see how many people are actually stitching Harriet. These little stags with their blue spots, they're adorable. She is such a pretty sampler. Okay, so I'm not sure how long I've talked for this morning. Probably talked for too long, and I'm sorry, I apologise. Ray and I, we're off for a walk with the dogs today. It's a beautiful day, the sun's shining, but it's not too hot to walk them. And Ray hurt his knee some time ago, and he's always had a problem with his knees. So he hasn't been able to walk with me for a very, very long time. So I'm really looking forward to having a walk with my better half. It's a funny thing, we never ever run out of things to talk about, and he always makes me laugh. After all these years of married life and being together, I never get fed up of his company. He's my best friend. Right, okay, I am probably starting to rabble now, so I'm going to say stay safe, stay well, and until next week, bye-bye.